Hi, Anne. Nina Ognyanova with the Committee to Protect Journalists. My question is, what should or what would the American media do better in reporting Russia today?
I think get out of Moscow. I mean, seriously. When's the last time you saw anybody get out of Moscow, except maybe to go to Ukraine? And I mean, I sort of gave a shorthand, but I mean, I was not there, and I was reading the media from Iraq and or wherever in 2010, 11, and if I had just relied on that, I would have thought the whole country was, in opposition. Well, that's not true. And we may not, I mean, all of our friends, basically our friends are back in the kitchens, talking. They said they would never go back. Well, that's where they are. Or on blogs where they're not putting their head above the transom somehow. They're not so important that anybody's paying attention to them, but you can be, fingered for the craziest things. So, I mean, I think we need to explain why. And it may be distasteful. We may not want to appreciate or understand why people like Putin. But I think that we need to, what mistakes did we make mistakes as Americans in terms of treating Russia like a loser? Why is it that Russians are increasingly, anti-Western, whereas as you described this one friend of mine or acquaintance of mine who's a magazine editor and dresses in the fanciest Western clothes, but loathes the West. It's all, and is this gonna last? Does this have staying power? Are there red lines? I think we need to keep asking those questions rather than just sitting in the kitchen listening to our friends bemoan, and the opposition, is Putin has brilliantly played on them. He's divided and conquered them with absolute ease because they've eaten themselves for lunch. And so we need to look more critically at what happened there rather than sort of just saying, oh, it's Putin, it's Putin. Well, I'm sorry, unfortunately, it's also the opposition.